In this video, I'm going to reveal a hidden truths about shadow work that you need to know to really integrate your personal power and take your shadow work to a higher and also deeper level. Because integrating your shadow is really one of the most profound spiritual practices, personal growth practices that you can do. You're literally shining a light on the darkness within and also in the world. And then you are more integrated and more whole and more complete and not acting out from a negative, destructive behaviors that are shadow based. So I'll also give a lot of examples in this specific video, also share some personal stories, and then it becomes really clear what this hidden truth is that I'm talking about. So what I am talking about is a very important aspect of shadow work. And that aspect is called projection, or understanding like really what projection is and why projection happens from a shadow perspective. Because if you look at the shadow, these are disowned parts of the self. These are parts we don't want to identify with. So what then happens is, it's not that these parts are gone. They're still somewhere in the unconscious or subconscious mind. And then what tends to happen is that these parts, they are seen in the outside world. They are seen in the outside world. They are seen in others because you try to hide them from yourself. And this is, in a sense, also a very good way to understand, okay, where are really your shadows? How are you projecting onto other people? So let me just give a couple of examples to really make this concept very clear to you. So let's say there's a guy or a group of guys and they really try to improve with meeting girls, for example. And they study some courses online and read books. But then maybe there's some other friends of this specific group or something that really look down on that behavior. It's like, oh, okay, why are you doing that? Learning how to improve with girls and all these things, you know? Like, oh, it's so stupid, and like, hey, just don't do that. That's stupid. Why would you like do personal growth around that? But often it really comes from that they are themselves afraid to meet girls. You know, they're afraid to approach, they're afraid to put themselves out there, and then it's easier to judge the other people than to actually do the work themselves. That's a classic example. Another example could be bullying, and like the bullies other kids based on maybe certain characteristics, but often the bully got bullied themselves earlier, or is really afraid that they are going to get bullied, so they bully the other person. So it's like this mechanism again of like, oh, I don't want this part of myself is not good, so I better bully other people. You also see it a lot in empath narcissist dynamics, and sometimes there is really a real narcissist that does bad things to the empath, but often it's also just that the empath is actually projecting also certain narcissistic tendencies that they themselves have on the other person. And that also happens, you know, it's really always the other one that is the bad one when the breakup happens or something like that, you know. It's like, that's like projection. That's like, oh, can you also look at yourself? And that's really, really crucial to understand. And then, maybe another example is the conflict between Jewish people and Palestinian or people from the Arab world. And it's always the other party is the monster. The other party is the monsters. Oh, they're so bad. They're so evil. We need to destroy them. So, okay, like you need to destroy them. So it's like, okay, so you're exactly the same then. You are really saying that this other group of people, they're so evil, and we have to destroy them with all our might and everything. So it's a bit like, okay, so are you then not exactly the same thing as you say that you despise? Because it is a shadow projection. You are not aware of doing that. You turn into the thing that you despise because you are denying that you are also the monster in that specific situation. And then, yeah, if you look at maybe an organization like the Antifa or something, they're against the fascists and like, oh, they're so bad, the fascists, and they're evil. Okay, so if you look at them, they're very fascist because they are projecting a certain shadow onto the other person. And when you're not aware of that you are projecting, it usually goes more to extremes because in unconsciousness, in just energy terms and consciousness terms, if a part is unconscious, yeah, it tends to go more to the extremes. If both sides are seen, then you have a more holistic view, and then yeah, it becomes more depolarized. It becomes more centered and more, yeah, not so extreme. Yeah, and that's a really important thing to understand. So those are just a couple of examples, and yeah, really, yeah, important to understand that this happens a lot. And let me share also, yeah, an important distinction to be made. It's not only that we project negative traits onto other people, it's also that we project positive traits that we have disowned in ourselves. Maybe certain talents or certain yeah, traits or qualities that we think we miss, and we project them out into others. It's like, oh, they have the beauty, the strength, or the confidence, or all these things. Oh, they are such good leaders. If you look at oh no, Trump or Hillary or whatever person you view as the leader, or yeah, maybe you don't believe in those things at all, but just to paint the picture, like, oh, they are the leaders. Okay, what about your own leadership capabilities? So this is also really important to understand. And let me give a personal story around that also. When I was growing up, yeah, I always had this struggle with, yeah, I think it started when I was about 17 or something, 18. It's like, okay, yeah, I feel a bit skinny. Oh, let's go to the gym. Oh, let's go to the gym and get muscles. And the process seemed very simple. Like, okay, you eat a lot and you work out. But for some reason, it just didn't work. It didn't work. It like, I just couldn't gain muscle. So I was what they would say a hard gainer, you could call that. And then, yeah, that went on for years until I was, maybe 10 years later. And then, I don't know, there's a lot of energy around this, like, oh, like, why can't I do this? And yeah, I was training one time in the week and doing some kind of high intensity training and eating kind of like a paleo style diet, doing intermittent fasting. And yeah, there was just certain things. And at one point I also just accepted it. I was like, okay, it doesn't really matter that much. But there was, of course, like still a part of me that was like, okay, I really want to do this, but I just can't, or something like that. And just long story short, a lot of things happened at some point in my life. I went through a total transformation where I really, on a very, very deep level, accepted weakness. I accepted being skinny, and I started to really love that. I really like, went very deep into that, let's say, polarity, into that energy. And what I really discovered is that when you do that, when you go really deep into your own unconscious or shadows and these fears around it and not being good enough, and then it's like, okay, but I'm doing that, so that actually makes me very strong. I am very strong. And I was always projecting, oh, these other people are strong, or these other men are strong. They have big muscles. They're doing this. They're doing that. I can't gain these muscles. But the moment that I really gave myself permission to actually experience this quality that I obviously had and that I obviously have, then after that, my whole reality started to change. And then at some point, it was just effortless. Okay, now it's just a normal part of my life. I go to the gym, it's cause and effect. I can gain muscle. It's no issue. I feel strong because I gave myself permission. But before that, I was always, I don't know, like projecting this outward, and I felt weak. But when you go into weakness, well, that makes you strong. And that's, yeah, also, yeah, an interesting example. And then if you maybe think of another example, maybe you see this with women a lot more. Yeah, it's just the idea of being beautiful or ugly, and yeah, that kind of like energy around that. Yeah, they do a lot of makeup and all these things, and like which is good. I mean, it's good as a girl to, want to look attractive, but is it coming from a healthy place? Do you actually find in yourself that you're not enough, or that you really, really feel ugly and therefore not lovable? And that can even happen to girls that are very, very beautiful. But yeah, then if you actually go into that acceptance, into that yeah, feeling of not being good enough, not being loved, and that the beauty comes more from within because you give yourself permission to feel beautiful, because that is a quality that you have. And then natural beauty arises, and then often girls actually look much prettier. They maybe dress better, or they just have a different energy, different yeah, energy, and that leads to actually looking better. And that's a very interesting phenomena also, that yeah, when you integrate these things, then it's actually also something that has an effect also on the physical body and on the outside world, because yeah, you give yourself permission to feel that feeling. And maybe before that, just to give the example, it's maybe, oh, it's always the other girls that are very pretty, it's always the other girls that are very beautiful and that look good, or something like that. So that is just another example. It shows up in yeah, unlimited ways, of course. But yeah, really that projection, like, oh, they have the good qualities, I don't have those. Because the secret is to really understand that from a consciousness perspective, and also just from a human perspective, and you can yeah, like investigate this for yourself. You have all the traits that you despise in other people, and you also have all the traits that you really admire in other people. Because what happens is that, yeah, we say like, oh, I don't like this about the other person, but okay, where do you do this yourself? Where are you sometimes narcissistic? Where are you sometimes a little bit sneaky? Have you, yeah, you're like, oh, they're so bad people, oh, they lie or something. Have you never told a lie? Never told a little white lie even? It's probably not even possible. So yeah, if you go more towards truth, then you will be more liberated, because you're not yeah, saying like, oh, those are like the evil monsters. Or yeah, if you really admire a certain person in the world, like, oh, so they have such good qualities, they're such a good leader, they're so smart, they're so strong and beautiful, or all these things, and then you really put them on a pedestal, then you already know that you are disowning this part of yourself and not finding it within. Because a balanced person would also look at that person that is maybe super successful and beautiful or whatever, and then they could also see that they also have bad qualities, and that they also have a bad life, and that it's not all good, because nothing in this world is only good or only bad. And this is a really important part of this shadow integration, to really understand that yeah, you often project what you disown, and you often yeah, like what you dislike about yourself you see in others. So yeah, that is really the essence of your power, to really go into that and to really yeah, do some meditation on that. And I can share a couple exercises also that can really help to do this. And yeah, just to start there, so a couple exercises that I could recommend. First one is really, maybe for the next week or 2 weeks, as a starter exercise, is just to become more aware of this. So when you're talking to somebody, when you're triggered by something, really investigate, become more aware, just shine that light of awareness onto that situation. What is really going on? Are you projecting something onto the other person that you are doing yourself, or are you really placing responsibility of your reactions to a situation onto the other person? Oh, they need to change. But yeah, okay, like, you are the person in charge of your emotions and your perspectives on the situation. That is your responsibility. So can you see that? Are there maybe certain moments where you say certain bad things about people? Okay, do you maybe have these traits yourself? And yeah, that takes an honest heart also to look at that in that way. And yeah, you can come to the conclusion that yeah, maybe certain people have it more than you. Okay, that's fine. But there are often parts that yeah also have this part because you have all the qualities. You can really investigate this because when you then see that you have the bad qualities and also the good qualities, then it also collapses more and then it's more neutral and then it is actually authentic uh, confidence, then it is authentic self-love, authentic peace. Yeah, because it becomes authentic. It's not so polarized. It's not only like looking at one side of the story. So yeah, just become aware of that. Look at that in your life for yourself, but also yeah, notice it in other people, maybe your friends or parents or something like that. Like, and it can sometimes be actually quite funny, like some examples that I told before, like. Yeah, that you notice it and it's like, oh, okay, that's like classic projection. That's very interesting that people do that. Yeah, just try to notice that. And then, yeah, you can also do some a meditation on it yourself. Maybe there are certain parts you can become aware of and then ask them why there's even a shadow. Really go into that, be aware of your triggers. And then another thing that you can do is to journal about this. So journal about yeah where you project or where you feel that others may be projecting onto you. So just yeah, like a lot of awareness exercises, and then really try to look at the situation from all those different perspectives. Where do I maybe have those qualities that I despise in the other person, or maybe where do I also have these qualities that I really admire in this other person? And then it becomes more a balanced perspective. And then you really integrate your shadow. And then from that place of wholeness and more completeness, you are much more effective in the world. Because until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. I say it in almost every shadow work video. It's quite funny actually, but it is true. Yeah, because it gives you more freedom to choose and to really yeah, set certain things in motion because you are not ruled unconsciously by these little shadow parts that can also sabotage you, by the way. That's like a really important point. It can also sabotage you. A lot of addictions, they come from unhealed shadow parts that you have to bring up and then look at and then be aware and then shine the light of your awareness and then integrate it with certain practices to really change that energy. To really go from maybe a feeling of, oh, there's a feeling of not being loved, there's a feeling of not being enough. Okay, how do you really change that to a feeling of feeling enough and feeling empowered and feeling confident and feeling strong? How do you really do that? Yeah, that's the first step is going into it and becoming aware of it and yeah, then shining your light onto that and then consciously choosing more these emotions and really integrating them in yourself and seeing them also in yourself. Where are you actually strong? Well, you're doing shadow work now, so that actually makes you strong. So are you prepared to really yeah, be your authentic self and really be who you are? Well, that's also beautiful. So yeah, play with that, look at that, and I'll make future videos on really the specifics of how you can go from, let's say, a negative state of being or negative emotions that you maybe uncover while doing this work, and then really changing them into positive states and really anchoring them deep into your subconscious mind. So I'll make videos about that also in the future. But for now, play with this. And also make sure to check out the other videos. They might also include yeah, things that help with this. And then if you like this video, make sure to give it a like. That really helps. And also there could be some kind of free giveaway that you can get below. Maybe a shadow work meditation. Or you can also book a coaching call with me. That's probably the top link. So you can press that. And if you really want help with integrating your shadow and taking your shadow work and your personal and spiritual growth to the next level, then I'd be more than happy to help with that. And I can help people who are struggling with anxiety, if you're struggling with depression, or just if you're maybe an entrepreneur that really wants to take your business and life to the next level, but you feel like something is blocking you, there's certain sabotage, or maybe you can't reach the next level, then we can really look at that and what is causing that. And yeah, just other types of coaches. If you're a coach and you really want to go deep into yourself and integrate your shadow, then I can also help with that. So make sure to press that link and then yeah, fill out the form, and we can see if we can do some great work together. And besides this, I also have other shadow work videos, so make sure to check them out if you really want to learn more about that. So that's all for this video, and have a great day.